At the end of today's video, you should have a clear understanding why it's so important that you invest in rest so that you can perform at your best and be a successful athlete in the long run. There are still too many coaches and athletes out there that think that living by the motto no pain, no gain makes the trick when you want to be successful in sports over a long term. However, that's only half of the truth. Too often athletes lose motivation and fun in their sport actually when they train too much and too hard. So when they do overtraining, they might feel drained, they might feel tired, or just simply they don't enjoy it anymore. And in the worst case, they even give up. Do you maybe know that feeling? Welcome to today's video. My name is Steven and I help athletes become mentally strong and successful. Hard work is in some way necessary if we want to reach our goals, and maybe when we have some very high expectations on ourselves, especially in sport. But at the same time, it's incredibly important that we have enough time to digest our training, our competitions, what we learn. So our maybe some technical analysis or video analysis or some tactical aspects or some physical training or mental coaching. So there are so many aspects that we need to bear in mind when talking about progress or becoming a better athlete or improving. On the other hand, though, we need enough time to digest this, and that's when we rest. So we should actually, instead of no pain, no gain, maybe it would be better to call it invest more in rest or invest in rest, because breaks actually are where progress happens. And now it's about finding some good ways how we can fill these breaks in between training sessions, or when we come home after training in the evenings, or before we leave the house in the mornings, or when we spend some time at home. So how do we use the breaks? Do we waste the time, or do we fill these times in a positive way and in a way that helps us improving and becoming better athletes? One important aspect when talking about breaks is of course sleep. So make sure that you get enough sleep during the night. So because I had some clients in the past also that were struggling actually with getting enough sleep because of the whole workload and the training that they had on a daily basis. So it was maybe training, it was matches, it was competitions, it was maybe school, and maybe some other stuff, family and friends, of course. And at the end of the day, they realized, oof, I don't get enough sleep and I feel more and more tired over time. So that's a bit critical, because that's where we are vulnerable to injuries, or we are just actually losing our motivation and we can't enjoy our sport anymore. And the consequences are that we might even underperform. So it's not only that we see some stagnation in our performance, but our results are getting even weaker than they used to be. So make sure that you get enough sleep, that you have at least between 7 and 8 hours of sleep. When you have the feeling this is not enough, try to get from time to time, try to get at least 9 hours of sleep. And what you could also do is, in breaks in the afternoon, for example, or after lunch, have a power nap for a maximum of 25 minutes. It could even be 10 minutes, doesn't matter, but make sure that it's not longer than 25 minutes. Otherwise you might feel even more tired than before. Alternatively, sleep even one cycle, so that's 90 minutes. Set your alarm to 90 minutes and let's say catch up some sleep. On top, I would suggest that you spend, let's say, as much time as possible also in silence, so just with yourself on your own. This gives you also the opportunity to reflect on your training sessions, on your whole life. So maybe what's going to happen tomorrow, the upcoming competition. So you have enough time also to reflect on yourself, on your life, on your sport. And that's very, very important also, because that's where we also create some kind of awareness. We create some kind of also creativity, and we'll find some solutions maybe for some questions that we couldn't answer up to now. But it's like when meditating. So that would be one thing I would also like to highlight. When spending time in silence, you could also meditate in silence. You could do this at home, on your sofa or on a chair. You could do this also somewhere in nature. Sit on a bench somewhere or on a stone and meditate for ideally at least 20 to 30 minutes. At least 20 to 30 minutes. And you're gonna recover also quicker from your training and everything that happens over the day. So add a meditation ideally on a daily basis in your routine. It could be in between, as I said, in between. It could be at the beginning of the day, so right after getting up, getting out of bed. Meditate for 30 minutes. That's fantastic. Has a great impact and effect on the day. Or do this when you come home and before going to bed. This is also going to help you fall asleep. Or alternatively, you could also add a meditation to your, let's say, daily routine in the middle of the day. Maybe you had a training session in the morning, you have lunch, and then comes the next training session, but you have a little gap in between. So why don't you just try or add a meditation in that break? That would be great. It would be active recovery, so not passive recovery. That would be sleep, what we talked about already. So that would be active recovery, and this would be incredibly helpful for you also and your mind to digest everything that happened and digest also your training and everything that you learned. This will help you improve your level of performance. Another way to recover actively is go outside and go for a walk. Maybe you go with a friend even, and socialize at the same time. Have a good chat, good conversation, and walk maybe somewhere by a river or in the nature, maybe for an hour or so. And this will have also a very positive impact on your recovery level and will recharge your batteries. And have a closer look at your diet. So what are you eating throughout the day? Make sure that you get enough proteins and some healthy carbohydrates, that you drink enough water and stay away as far as possible from sugar, from alcohol. And this will also have a huge impact on your recovery speed and the level of recovery, so that you're going to feel fresh and your batteries will be recharged the next day when you wake up. And this will, by the way, also help you avoid injuries. I mean, especially athletes that train on a daily basis, maybe even twice a day. So when I think of ice hockey players, for example, tennis players, when I think of when I think of athletes that do track and field, they practice a lot in general, and they have to make sure that they definitely get enough time to recover. So they need to get enough time to invest in rest, and that might be some kind of mindset shift for you, because I hope you don't have the feeling that that when you don't train, or that when you don't do anything, that you are lazy, or that you should do even more. And that's a misconception now in our mind, because it's you have to tell yourself, you have to create the awareness that you need the time to rest, and for sleep, and for active recovery, like doing yoga, meditation, going for a walk. That's so important, because that's where you actually improve. That's where you digest everything that you did through the day, or that you learned through the day. It's the same with when you go to school and you need to learn some, or do your work on your vocabulary in French or in Spanish. When you do this before going to bed, just maybe do some rehearsal there, working on your skills in French or Spanish. During the night, when you have a good night of sleep, the brain digests everything that you learned the previous day, and the next day when you wake up, you will have improved your level in French or in Spanish. And if you don't get enough sleep, or if you don't get enough rest, you won't improve on the same scale. And that's why it's so incredibly important that we also regard rest time and recovery time as a crucial element in our daily routine as an athlete. And always bear in mind, overtraining is going to kill your motivation and will only cause injuries. So training hard is good and important, but when talking about training hard, this means also for me training and working consistently. So rather do some shorter training sessions, but do them consistently. So maybe on a daily basis, or with one day off, instead of having huge training sessions, long training sessions, and feeling completely wasted. And doing this over a long period of time, you're probably gonna feel rather tired, and you're gonna feel fatigue, and you might feel even unmotivated. And that's what we definitely want to avoid. So in order to find the right balance between training and rest, recovery time, is ask yourself after each training, how much actually did I enjoy training today? And how did I feel during the training? How did I feel before the training? How did I feel during the training? And how do I feel now after training? What does my body feel like? Ask yourself also that question. What does your body feel like? And on a scale from 1 to 10, let's say, what would you say? How did you feel? How do you feel now after the training? And how much did you enjoy it? And how much motivation did you feel? So 1 is very weak, hardly any motivation, and 10 would be very high motivation. That's what we actually want to, let's say, rather going towards the 10 as often as possible. And if you identify at some point that you have too many, let's say, sessions, trainings, days where you feel rather like a 6 or less, then you should have a closer look at it. Maybe also talk to your coaches, maybe to your parents or some other people that are important to you, and then have a clear understanding of you. They know you, and they know how much you love actually what you do. And reflect with them on the current situation, and tell them what you found out for yourself when doing your self-reflection, and maybe also then get some feedback from them, and see what they actually say and what they feel. Make sure that you get enough breaks in between, that you get enough rest time, and invest even more in rest if you have the feeling you haven't done so far. In case you would like to get some support from my side, feel free to click on the TidyCal link and arrange a free info call with me. I'd be happy to support you in creating like a weekly plan so that you get enough rest and recovery time in case you're struggling with that. And if you like the content, I'd be happy if you left a comment in the comment section. Hit the like button and share the content with anyone who could be interested in this. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so far. I'd be very happy to see you in one of my next videos. Have a great time and don't forget, invest in rest. Bye.